Hi, I'm Will Bangura, certified canine behaviorist. Having conversations and reading comments on social media with balanced trainers, it's become very clear that a dog's underlying emotions, the driver behind serious behavior problems like aggression and reactivity, are rarely part of the equation, that they're hardly ever part of the thought process, and they're rarely part of the training plan. And as a decades long former balance trainer myself, that's not criticism, it's just an honest observation. But here's the problem: aggression and reactivity really aren't behavior problems, they're emotional problems with behavioral expression. And that's not controversial. That's established behavior science and behavioral neuroscience. The only place it gets treated like a debate is on social media. And here's why. For the most part, balanced trainers' entire view of training is command and compliance, control and performance. I can get the dog to do this. I can get the dog to stop doing that. So they measure success by what they can stop. If the barking stops, they call it fixed. If the lunging stops, they call it trained. If the growling stops, they call it calm. Barking, lunging, and growling are not the problem, though. They're the expression. Ask the real question. What is the function of the behavior? Most of the time, it's distance. Create space. Make the trigger go away. That function is tied to emotion, fear, anxiety, frustration, conflict, and sometimes pain. Oh, and about that growl that they stopped and called calm? Well, a calm dog is not automatically a safe dog. Sometimes that warning gets punished. Sometimes that growl gets punished. So the dog doesn't learn, I'm safe. The dog learns, don't warn, and that warnings are dangerous. So the risk shifts towards a bite with no growl, no warning. That is suppression, hiding or burying the outward behavior temporarily while the emotional engine driving those outward behaviors keeps running underneath. And because aversive methods and tools can shut down outward behavior fast, barking, lunging, growling, even biting, balanced trainers often confuse speed with success. But you can't turn emotions off with a collar. You can't turn emotions off with a leash correction or punishment. A collar cannot turn fear off. A leash cannot erase anxiety. Punishment cannot make a trigger feel safe. You removed the smoke alarm, not the fire. You have to stop treating emotional problems like behaviors to be corrected. Real behavior work changes the underlying emotional response that's driving the behavior under threshold through counter conditioning and desensitization. This is not an obedience training problem. This is not a dog that's disobedient. Aggression is not a sit. Reactivity is not a heel past a dog.